Little black book, you know what time it is. 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 Time it is.
And make sure that justice is undertaken with those individuals that are responsible for such disorderly and lawless behaviour.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is, yeah. I'm going to talk to you guys about removing of the statues and how it's spiritual. Yes, how it is spiritual. Hey, if you're new to the channel, do yourself a favor. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notifications of the uploads, baby. And for those of you returnees, you already know the model, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Yeah. All right, listen. Boom. Let's get it going. So obviously you might have been seeing recently in the UK that and in the US as well, there have been statues that have been removed, and many people I've seen, especially who are of Caucasian descent, or Caucasian color I should say, have had a problem with the statues coming down. Many reasons why they've had a problem is the fact that these statues are historical figures and representations of the past. They're statues that show obviously events that have been very, I guess, important to where we are now, which I do take on board. I take on board wholeheartedly. But I want to tell you a little story, and maybe that will help us. It wasn't long ago that in the Bible we get a story of a man called Gideon. And Gideon is one of the Israelites, and the Lord is looking for someone to stand up. And at the moment, Israel is underneath the oppression of the Philistines, I believe at the time or whatever, because they had been disobeying God, right? And so God then sees the cries of the people and meets this man called Gideon, Gideon is not even about this life, you know what I'm saying? Man's kind of shook off, right? And so Gideon gets an encounter with God, and then God says, listen, fantastic, I'm going to change your life around. Gideon's not sure, but then he goes out and says, okay, cool, what do you want me to do? And then God tells him, listen, what I want you to do is to go out and destroy the Asherah poles. What are these poles? These poles are idols that were sent for other gods. So in the land of Israel, you were seeing was these tall ass poles that were actually idols, or their sacrifice altars to other gods. Okay, and what that made us understand is that when Gideon got the mandate, he went in the night. He didn't go to daytime. He was shook. He went in the nighttime and destroyed all the Asherah poles of the idols in that town. In the morning time, the people of the town came and come in to collect Gideon, right? And they were ready to do him. They were ready to do him rough, bruv. They were ready to do him dirty, blood. They wanted to absolutely finish this guy, yeah? They were insulting him into the point where obviously Gideon's dad had to step in and say, hey, look, if the Lord has allowed Gideon to do this, if really your gods are alive, let them fight for you. You understand? Don't come and fight for your gods. Let the gods come and fight. You're telling me that your gods are powerful? Show me that your gods are powerful, right? And so there we get the story where Gideon has taken down all these altars and all these poles down. And now how does that relate to obviously the statue you're seeing? Very much so. Listen, we are spiritual before we're physical. Whenever they put up these statues at first, they were monuments of celebration of what had happened in the past. But so long as the statues stood up, they were also fixating, I was to say, ideology that we are stuck in the present. Even though things happen in the past, the statue staying up tells everybody physically that we haven't moved on since the past. And many times when a story is told about these great men and great women that did things in the past, the full story is not told. For instance, Edward Colston, the full story is not told. He was a slave trader, but then you want to celebrate him, right? And the reason why that the public will fight against that statue coming down is because they themselves still don't fully understand the story. And if you fully understand the story, then you are a racist. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because if you understand the story of what he did, and then you try to mask it by saying, well, he did great things, I've got a question whether you would be okay with a Hitler statue being up there as well. Because Hitler could have been said to have done great things so long as the ends justified the means. Which is why we're talking about Winston Churchill. Many people are saying Winston Churchill did great things, but he killed 3 million people. He allowed 3 million people to die in India. Are we celebrating that? You wouldn't celebrate that today. So we don't need to see those statues up there now today. The reason why we're holding on to those statues is because of the matter of that the ideology hasn't changed. We're still fixated in white supremacy. We're still fixated in white is always right. And so therefore now we can't even, now we can see that these statues hold not only a physical ideology, but there's something spiritual about it. The spiritualness of it is that fact, when you take down a statue, what you're saying is to the powers that this will no longer stand. This aspect of bondage, we no longer hold on to it. We break it. This is why when Gideon takes down those Asherah poles, the city becomes free from the ideology of false gods. Whenever we put up these statues, these people end up being what? Glorified. Made into what? Celebrity. Made into what? False gods. You see, and the false god is that there's false god in this particular aspect means not necessarily the deity, but in terms of the fact that there's a false truth attached to the person. You celebrate and uplift this person, but don't tell the full truth of what the person actually did. Many people don't know what Winston Churchill did. I don't even know the full extent of it. What we got told is that, man stood up to Hitler. Alright, but blood, did my man let 3 million people starve to death in India? Yes. So your fascism and your racism, to combat someone else who's racist and fascism makes no difference. The ends does not justify the means. I'm sorry to say it, but the ends does not justify the means. If I have to kill 1 million people just to save a few, I mean that wouldn't even be beneficial really. But if the ends doesn't justify the means. Let me just leave it as that. The ends doesn't justify the means in the sense of the fact that you can't just do whatever you want and then have a seemingly good end and think it's okay. For instance, the gynecologist the leading gynecologist in the past, I can't remember his name, in America, he actually began to operate on black slaves, women. He did so many different surgeries on black women and did it without anesthetic. Although in the process of time that he developed a technique which was going to be used in the future, he's actually hurt so many black women in the process, if not killed many black slaves in the process, right? To get the technique right. Not only that, then when he actually perfected it, he then added anesthesia when he was dealing with white people. Why all of a sudden that you decided to add anesthesia when you're dealing with white people? So this is not the kind of person we want to be celebrating. You see, you think we should celebrate it because of what they've done. Listen, even what you've done, we got to say that you've got to put your name next to the people that you hurt. You see, if you're going to celebrate someone, tell the full story. If you're gonna celebrate somebody who's gonna be someone who's done things in the past, where being a slave trader, being I would say a racist, etc., and I would say a genocidal killer, make sure you tell the full story. Let's not tell half truths here. Let's not make Germany the only people that are really wicked when really UK's got a horrible history. When you were indulged in slave trading, don't talk about Hitler when you don't talk about yourself. Yeah, that's one-sided. Okay, so this particular tearing down of statues. These statues are there to be built to celebrate and commemorate, right? So if someone said, we should put another statue label and then say that this person, no, tear it down. Tear it down. It's spiritual. Tear it down. These gods that are worshipped, tear it down. Secondly, listen, if you really want to know the power of a statue, just look at Egypt. When you look at some of the monuments, the noses have been chopped off. Why? Because of what it represents. The image represents something. So long as these statues, I think there's around about 800 statues in UK. So long as these statues are standing that are representative of racist people, the ideology of racism has to still stand because the monuments are still standing that hold onto that ideology. So now, what we're saying is in the UK, we are saying tear it down. Now, I will admit, we don't want to go around just tearing down statues. I mean, it's not safe, first of all. And two, anything can happen. But we're seeing now even the government's getting involved and tearing out some of these statues. I saw Robert Milligan being taken down. I don't know if they're going to do Winston Churchill. But the moment they take down Winston Churchill, that is an admittance that your history is bloody. You see, the reason why they can't take down Winston Churchill just yet, it means admitting that your past is checkered and shady. Because of what Winston Churchill represents. To the UK public, Winston Churchill is a person who fought against fascism and racism. No, but his history also is embedded in the fact that, listen, he let millions of people die. Yeah? So that lets you know that, and he said some racist comment too, that lets you know, so long as you uphold Winston Churchill, you are refusing to actually deal with the issue at hand, which is that there is a racist past that you have. You know what I'm saying? And then you hear comments like, slavery was so many years ago, you got to get over it. Well, then get over the statue. Let the statue go. Let us destroy it. Let us put the statue down. You wouldn't. You see? So then now you're picking and choosing how you feel. And that's the whole point of it. That the ideology, the racism that is imbued is tied into a statue. My man, DL, whatever his name is, Tommy, whatever, yeah, don't care about statue. What he cares about, the fact is what it represents. It's not about the statue, it's what it represents. It's a form of power and a form of control and a form of imagery that shows that white supremacy is still in control. And so when we tear it down, what he's actually afraid of is the fact that, oh, these guys are having power to tear the history down. Yes, because your history is not telling the full truth. Come, tell the truth. Don't be like one of those people that got beat up in a fight and come and tell your friends, I won that fight. When your eyes all black and blue, tell the truth what happened. And then we can get somewhere, okay? So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I don't know how you feel about it, but let me tell you something. The fact that they're tearing down these statues is a very big spiritual move. And I told you guys this from last year. If you watch my channel, you know I've been saying it. When they did Black Panther, when they did Noughts and Crosses, I told you something is shifting in the atmosphere. That something is being changed in the atmosphere. Now they're going after statues. I wonder what they're going after next. Now they start talking about football and talking about the racism in that as well. I mean, let me tell you something. Something has changed. It snapped. And what I'm going to tell you this is that Africa is the next powerhouse that is coming. That's why China is heavily invested in Africa, and that's why USA is so pissed at China. Not because obviously China do anything mad, but because the fact is Africa are the workforce that whoever controls Africa controls the power. Now that Africa is now getting fitted with infrastructure, and I'm not saying that everything that China does is correct, but the fact is they're investing into infrastructure, agriculture, technology, medical fields. They're investing into every field. Yes, they got their finger in the pie, and yes, they're going to have some type of control, but that's not going to last very long. We are changing the narrative. They're calling for justice. And this is the time. And this is the season. It's not everything. Listen, someone's talking about Friends. I don't care about Friends. Friends is a white show. Yes, they were representing what they were showing. Like, this is not a beef. You understand? Like, I don't need you to tell me about that. What we need is equal opportunity to be able to put our black shows alongside your own. Then we can see who, then we can go and be full. I don't really mind if we're friends. We had My Wife and Kids. You know what I'm saying? We have 101. You know what I'm saying? We have Fresh Prince. Like, it doesn't make a difference. What we need is equal opportunity here. What we need is the door to be open to us in these opportunities. What we need is for you to stop slamming the door in our face, okay? We're going to talk about some other things as well. So watch out. Guys, it's going to get proper things. You understand? Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of the what? Upload.